The Scripps Howard Foundation is proud to honor excellence in commentary writing. The winner, Danny Westneat, The Seattle Times. Danny Westneat grew up in a family of journalists. Since joining the Seattle Times 20 years ago, he's distinguished the Westneat byline with journalistic footprints of his own, first as a reporter, and the past 10 years, a reporter who, as he says, gets to be opinionated. His opinions come in the form of twice-weekly columns that in 2013 illuminated the declining American dream by shedding light on current events. Consider the story of a Mexican day laborer who suffered a violent death just outside Seattle's pro baseball stadium. 3 weeks passed and no one knew Alvaro Ruiz's name until Westneat told his story to make a statement about apathy toward those who live and die in the shadows. Westneat's coverage of the local Boeing operation was a case study of middle-class erosion. First company leadership negotiated the largest tax break package in U.S. history. After posting record profits, executives received huge bonuses, and the CEO was handed a pension package worth $300,000 a month. Then Boeing leadership proposed cancellation of the pension plan for the company's machinists. Danny Westneat exposes hypocrisy, blows up myths, and sometimes, as with his column on rising college tuition, his work has more online readership than Seattle Seahawks game day coverage. After serving Seattle more than 1,000 columns, Danny Westneat is credited with making the city a better place to live, simply by also serving as its conscience.
Very often his columns were about the people that are lost in society. And he wasn't afraid to take on the moneyed powers.
The prose just soared. Every column was a gem with a beginning, middle, end. Every column had an argument. Every single column had lovely lyric writing.
Paul Scripps, a director of the E.W. Scripps Company and a Scripps Howard Foundation trustee, presents the Scripps Howard Award for commentary and $10,000 to Danny Westneat of the Seattle Times.
Oh, thank you so much for this. I think I'm luckier than most to be up here because I didn't actually do the kind of big journalism that usually wins awards. What I wrote was so local and so small to Seattle that I remember wondering as I was doing some of it, is this even news? For example, the story about the Mexican day laborer whose beating death in downtown Seattle never rated a mention in the paper or on TV. So it isn't exactly stop the press's news that when you live in the shadows, you may die there too. But Seattle was touched enough about the invisible death that people rallied to donate thousands of dollars to ship his body back to his family in Mexico. It was an unexpected outpouring that said, let's at least give him a name in death. And as it said, his name was Alvaro Ruiz, and that name is now on his grave back in Mexico. My point is that people are hungry to hear about what's right in front of their noses. And they're maybe hungriest for those stories most of all. Little big stories, I call them. So thank you to Scripps Howard, especially, for your long tradition of honoring the small stories. And so finally, it turns out I've got this community journalism thing in my blood. My mom's father, my grandfather, ran a weekly paper up the river here a ways in West Virginia. And my mom's brother, my uncle, was for decades a reporter right up the road at the Akron Beacon Journal. So my mom, who is here tonight, this is for you. Thanks for putting newspaper ink in my veins.